Chullin Daf Kuf Mem. Yesterday we discussed the word tzipar means a kosher bird. So what does the Torah mean when the Torah says kol tzipar tahira techelu? Every kosher bird you shall eat. Two options. Either the Torah is coming to say do not eat a treifa bird, which the Torah already said, but it comes to add an assay to the lois assay, or the Torah means to say do not eat the bird that Mitzayir brings and you shecht it and you sprinkle the blood on the Mitzayir to be Mitayirim. Don't eat that bird. Although the Torah already says it, to add an assay to the lois assay. So which one is it? We say in the morning, one of them is davar halamed mit inyanai. You shall learn from the subject matter that you already have in the pasuk. So since the pasuk is talking about birds that you shecht and they're tahir, they're mutter to eat, so the Torah is talking about the bird of the Mitzayir that should be mutter to eat, yet you're not allowed to eat it because it's the Mitzayir bird. When the Torah says shtei tziporim chayos tahiris, what does chayos mean? Says the Gemara, option number one can mean that it has all its limbs available. This bird of the Mitzayir has to have all its limbs. Or it comes to exclude a treifa bird, according to the Man Omer that says that a treifa animal or bird doesn't live more than 12 months. The word tahiros can mean one of four things. Either it comes to say that for a Mitzayir bird, you cannot use a bird from the Ir Dachas, which is a city that is condemned to be burned, so you're not allowed to have anah from anything. You can't use a bird for the Mitzayir. Or somebody got some Avodah Zarah things and he's trading it in for this bird, you're not allowed to trade it in, you're not allowed to have any anah from Avodah Zarah. Or we're talking about where somebody decided, a second Mitzayir decided to use the first Mitzayir's bird, the bird that you send away. Comes the second guy, he says, listen, don't send it away yet, I want to use your bird. You're not allowed to use it twice. It's only good for one person. Or the fourth thing is, if a bird killed a human being, before sentencing, you're not allowed to use the bird from Mitzayir. And don't say, oh, I'm going to shech the bird anyways, and I'll be mekayim the mitzvah v'yar Torah mikabech, I'm getting rid of the bad anyways. I'll kill two birds, so to speak, with one stone. The answer is no, you cannot use that bird for a Mitzayir. Now we have a concept in Kachim, you have a machshir and you have a mechaper. Machshir inside the Beis Hamikdash and machshir and mechaper outside the Beis Hamikdash. What is a machshir? A machshir is something that's mitayir a person and enables a person to come back to society, such as the Asha Mitzayra and the Chatas of a woman who gave birth, or a Zav. Those are machshir them to come back into society. Then you have the mechaper, kapara for Navera, like all Chatais, all Hashamas. So the two are the same in a lot of halachas, the mechaper and the machshir. Says the Gemara, so too the mechaper and the machshir outside of the Mikdash are also the same. What's the mechaper, the machshir outside of the Beis Hamikdash? That would be the bird of the Mitzayra. And what's the mechaper? That would be the Sa'ir La'azazel. On Yom Kippur, you take the goat and you throw it off a cliff. So just like that goat cannot have a mum. Why? Because there's a goyrel, there's a raffle, you see which one gets thrown off the cliff, which one goes for shechita. Perhaps the one that you're throwing off would have ended up being the one that you shechted. So if you shechted it, can't have any mum. So therefore, both of them can have a mum. So too, the bird of the Mitzayra, we learn from here, cannot have a mum because the machshir is like the mechaper. Torah says, tikach loch, like shiluach again, you're supposed to shoo away the mother and take the eggs for yourself. So meaning, if you're going to take it for yourself, it has to be edible for you and not edible for your dog. So they have to be kosher eggs and kosher chicks. The Gemara just remains with a teiku. What happens if somebody takes a knife and starts shechting the chicks? The shaila is, since if he stops right there where he is, eventually they're going to be treif and they're not edible. Or perhaps you could continue the shechita and make them kosher. Gemara remains in a suffix. We know that the eggs, the chicks, have to be edible. What about the mother? What if the mother has a hole in her heart? She's a treifa. Could you be mekayim the mitzvah of shiluch haken? The Gemara says yes, because if not, if the mother has to be edible, then why do you need a special pasuk to say that a non-kosher bird, you're not mechuyev to do shiluch haken? A non-kosher bird is not edible. The Gemara brings Rabbi Yirmi, who has 5 sveikas when it comes to chatzitza. What happens if you have a towel between the mother bird and the eggs? Is that considered a chatzitza? And if it is considered a chatzitza, what if it's the same material as the mother? It's feathers. They're not attached to the mother, but they're feathers nonetheless. Perhaps that's not as much of a chatzitza. What about if you have eggs that are not fertilized eggs? Do they cause a chatzitza between regular eggs and the mother? Or perhaps what about, 4th suffix, regular eggs, fertilized eggs, but you don't want the top layer, you want the bottom layer. Does the top layer of fertilized eggs create a chatzitza? And what about if the mother is sitting on top of a male bird who is sitting on top of the eggs. Is the male bird a chatzitza? A kosher bird who is sitting on kosher eggs but not its own eggs. Another kosher bird, another breed. What's the halacha? So Reb Zera was Mesupik. Abaye says, I'll prove it to you from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that if a non-kosher bird sits on kosher eggs, you're not mechuyev shiluch haken. Mashma, that if it was a kosher bird sitting on somebody else's eggs, it would be a chiyuv of shiluch haken. So Gemara says, no, that's not a good deal, because perhaps the deek would be if it's a kosher bird called a koire, what do we call it? A partridge, I forgot the name, a partridge bird, sorry, then after that bird, because it's the derech for that bird to sit on other eggs, that's why it is mechuyev to do shiluch haken. Any male bird who sits on eggs, regardless if it's his own eggs or another breed's, there's no chiyuv, because it says the mother is sitting and not the father. What about a female partridge? L'kula alma, even on other eggs, there's a chiyuv. The machlokes is if you have a male partridge on eggs. So according to the Tanna Kama, there's no chiyuv. According to Rebbe Eliezer, the reason why he says there's a chiyuv because there's a special gzeira shava, the gira. Says the Mishnah, it says in the pasuk reivetzes, the mother is sitting on the eggs. So halacha number one is if the mother is flying, hovering over the eggs and not touching the eggs, there's no chiyuv of shiluch haken. However, if the mother is hovering over the eggs and her wings are touching the nest, then in the middle on the eggs, then there's a chiyuv, but on the side there's no chiyuv. If the mother is sitting between the eggs, not on top of the eggs, there is no chiyuv. And if the mother, here's an interesting chiddush, the mother is sitting right above the eggs, but not touching the eggs. She's suspended by two branches. Says the Gemara, depends. If you break the branches and she'll fall directly onto the eggs, then there's a chiyuv of shiluch haken, because she doesn't have to be touching, she has to be above. But if she'll fall next to the eggs, then you are potter. And finally, says the Gemara that there's a hekesh between the chicks and the eggs. And we learn the eggs from the chicks, that just like the chicks, they are lasting, they're there to stay. So to the eggs, they have to be fertilized eggs that last, not just unfertilized eggs that are going to go to waste pretty soon. And you learn the chicks from eggs, that just like eggs they need the mother to sit on them, so too the chicks, they have to be chicks that are that age that they need their mother, but once they can fend for themselves and they don't need their mother, they can get their own food, there's no mitzvah of shiluch haken. Have a great day.